All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. Welcome to the webinar for online productivity and organization organized by National STEM Honor Society. And I'm your host, Nidhi. We're going to be waiting for a few more people to join in, but until you're waiting, let me know in the chat whether to me, the panelists and the host, or just to everyone, whether you are a student in high school or college or an educator. And after that, let me know what your favorite STEM occupation or field is, and also your favorite STEM subject if you're learning at school right now. All right, looks like we have a mix of both students and educators. So we can now start our webinar. So hi again. If you're just joining us right now, thank you for joining us here, and welcome to our webinar for online productivity and organization. Again, my name is Nidhi, and let's get started with the webinar. So what we're going to be talking about here today is first going to be introducing the National STEM Honor Society to you, and then we're going to be talking about our webinar and a couple different applications to help you stay organized and productive in these online workspaces. And finally, we're going to be talking about Notion and how Notion can help you organize your workspace and stay productive and in your online workspaces. So let's start. So introducing NSTEM to you. So who are we and what is NSTEM? So NSTEM is an organization that aims to help children all across America pursue their passions in STEM-related fields. Our mission is to ensure that children are given the opportunity and space to grow in STEM-related fields. We focus on levels from K-12, college, and university. We inspire future leaders of our increasingly technology-driven world by nurturing STEM education and innovation through project-based learning, leadership development, and mutually beneficial collaboration among students, schools, communities, and businesses. If you want to learn more about us, please make sure to check out our website for more information about what we do, what our goals are, and how you can join hear us at NSTEM. So moving on to our webinar topic, does this look familiar to any of you? Now, I'm sure it does. COVID-19 has pushed us to an online-based learning environment. Due to this abrupt switch, both educators and students have found it extremely hard to stay organized and productive in their online workspaces. And they also find it hard to engage themselves in their education. Even though post-pandemic era is right around the corner, the use of technology for education isn't going anywhere. Learning with technology has a lot of benefits, but sometimes it can be hard when things are working against you. Being disorganized is also one of the leading causes of decreased productivity. NSTEM understands these hardships, and we care about our students and educators. So we have created these temp applications and resources that are diamonds in the sand, or in other words, they're not very well known, but can be of great importance to help you stay organized and productive for back to school. If you missed something, all the applications and templates mentioned in this video will be available on the recording, which will be uploaded. And we hope that you find some of these things helpful, and let's get started with our applications. First up is our application, Spikeview. So what is Spikeview? Spikeview is a student portfolio platform that focuses on data privacy as one of their core values. It allows for easy organization of a digital portfolio, organizing a wide range of experiences and achievements to illustrate a student's interests and goals. Spikeview is like LinkedIn, but for students. It enables us to show our leadership, collaborate, and also have our voices heard on topics that we care the most about. Students can also become influencers on topics that they care the most about, and also get discovered by colleges. Now, with Spikeview, you can use it to build your portfolio and organize your website. Spikeview is also a website and an application available for free download or free use. Our next application is Scannable. Taking pictures of your homework for submission with your camera and uploading them to Google Drive, and then converting them to PDF, and then uploading to Google Drive again, and then converting it to your application like Canvas or Google Classroom. Nobody likes doing that. And for teachers, when you're giving notes to your students, you can scan them or take pictures and follow the same process. Even with AirDrop, this process is inconvenient. With Scannable, Scannable does not just take pictures of your files, but it scans your files and also lets you submit your work to the precise location under any application through email or text, Google Classroom or Canvas, in an image form or a PDF format. It's completely free and you can manage and delete files so you don't have around 210 images of your notes on your camera roll. Our next application is SlidesGo. Now, this presentation, ironically, isn't created by either of these web applications, but that's because we curate our own templates. These applications provide free templates for any subject or activity. So if you want to present your results from a final lab report, it counts for around 10% of your grade, and you want to ensure that your template is both on topic, organized, and aesthetic. These applications have specially curated them under these categories for easy find, and you can also use them with Google Slides or Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, I'm aware there are also a lot of educators attending these webinars. So SlidesGo and Google Slides Carnival also have a bunch of templates for classroom etiquettes and also templates to curate your lesson plans. So SlidesGo is available for anyone to use with around thousands of different templates for you to download as well. Our next application is also another website. Now, this application works like a website and also works as an application on your phone or iPad. This application works exactly like Quizlet, but if you are a student who really likes who are a visual learner, you're going to love this application because it lets you draw all your different flashcards with your hand or with any stylus that you have. With this application, you can also ensure you can learn through spaced repetition, which is a really powerful tool when you want to learn something. Organizing flashcards when you're on paper can sometimes also be extremely hard. So Feyn is the application which should be your go-to in terms of working with your phone or iPad or even your computer. Now, another application that we want you to use is Here.fm. So this application is mostly for our educators out there. Here.fm works exactly like Zoom, except it works like rooms. Let's say there was someone in the room opposite to you and they start talking. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hear them. But let's say there was someone 2 feet away from me and then they were talking. They're going to be able to hear me loud and clear. And that's exactly what Here.fm works like. It's an application available on Chrome and Safari, and it's a website available for beta mode. So why it works is because this is an application available on beta mode. You can use this application to make online learning more fun for your students. Through this application, you can also add Google Docs on here, Google Slides. You can add any images, whiteboards, GIFs. You can draw on this application and also ensure that your students are paying attention. This application is unlike any other application like Zoom or Google Meets. So this application will help you stay organized with your classroom, and there are ways you can decorate your classroom entirely up to your own needs. So let's say you are a science teacher. This application will let you decorate your classroom exactly like what your classroom would look like in person, and it also works like a classroom. How far does this extend? Well, almost infinite. But don't worry, there are always ways you can bring back students or your teachers back to the same place and ensure that no one goes missing in the rooms for these infinite rooms that extend infinitely. Now, students can also use these applications for their clubs or study groups, and that's why this application is very useful among students and also teachers. Another application that we suggest you use is Biorender. Now, whether you're a teacher or student for physics, bio, or chemistry, this application will be of great use to you. So how this application works? It's an application that provides diagrams for all 3 science fields taught in high school. They have hundreds and thousands of different diagrams, which you can make more diagrams with about cell structures, molecule structures, population, species, backgrounds, towers, parabolic paths, pendulums, and bacteria. Through this, you can also create detailed diagrams and it's extremely easy to download the pictures once you create them. It's pretty similar to using Canva, but you can use it for science. Another application that we suggest you use is Minimalist. Now, you know when you scratch your to-do list onto paper and you're looking for a really quick way to write down your to-do list. If you're the kind of person that prefers a simple plain to-do list, then this app should be your go-to. This is an application you can download on your phone or also your iPad. How it works is with easy commands to add and delete, you will be able to make your own lists and group them together. They also feature timers, but if you like to assign yourself set amount of time for work, with simplicity being their aesthetic, you can use this application anytime to keep track of your groceries, your homework, your lab procedures, or even your daily schedule. And it's available in the App Store for free download, like all the other applications mentioned in this video, in this webinar. Now, let's move on to our main application, and that is Notion. So what is Notion? Notion is an application for all work in one space. It helps users create scheduled tasks, manage files, save documents, set reminders, keep agendas, and organize their work. You can use Notion to organize your entire life if you wanted to, but for this webinar, we're going to talk about how you can use Notion to organize your classrooms, and for students, how you can use Notion to organize your study life or your school life. Notion allows writing and pasting equations in form of blocks or inline, as it also supports LaTeX, and users can also embed online content on their Notion. So now we're going to take a look at how to use Notion and how you can use Notion to organize everything on this application. Okay, we're going to share our screen for Notion. All right. With Notion, you can add, delete, and reorganize your spaces as easily as you want to. So let's say you wanted to add a to-do list for different days. How you would do this is by pressing the backslash command. Through this, you can add many different options. So if you wanted to add a page, you just say that, and then you label a new page. How this shows up in your old page would just be a single section for page. Now, why this is so powerful is that it lets you do whatever you want and however you want it to organize your space. Let me show you how you can organize all your classes. So for a student page, this is what Notion would look like. You can have all your classes lined up together here in one space. And with Notion, you can organize all your notes based on weeks, days, and months. And this is also how educators would organize their different notes for different semesters of the year. Now, let's move on to working on the student template. For to-do lists, let's add all different weeks. And how you do that is simply clicking the add button and adding a call out to make a text stand out. So let's add Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. How to use it is just by adding backslash. I'm sure you can see what I'm doing right now, but using backslashes to create different blocks is the way to use Notion, and that's how they market themselves. Thursday and Friday. Oh. There we go. Now, how do you add to-do lists on here though? Once you add the plus sign again, you can scroll down and add a to-do list. So once you say here, so create a template. Once you enter down again, you can see that there are multiple boxes that you can check off, and you can also restart them towards the end of your day. Now let's go back to see how a calendar would work. This calendar is similar to how any other calendar is on your online workspaces like Google Calendar, except this syncs all across your devices on iPhone, iPad, or your computer. Adding and deleting things on here is extremely easy. So say you have a lab report due. You can also turn this into a completely different page, and that's what's so unique about Notion. Every single thing you add onto Notion becomes a page if you wanted to. Now, let's go back to see how you're going to organize all your different class notes. With Notion, you can implement many different types of notes, including the Cornell Notion system. Let's say if you wanted to find more templates, here's where you would go by opening up a new page. You can see that there are many different templates on here designed for education, design, engineering, human resources, and also personal. Right now, we're going to be focusing on education. You can add your class notes, and you can select to use this template. And using this template, you can add infinite amount of pages again here in all these forms. So why Notion is so powerful is that it's a free application available for any use for anyone around the world for anything that they want to do. Using Notion as your main go-to ensures that you keep everything organized in one place. So let's go back to our student template and fill out our class note system. Adding a page. So let's make sure that this page is for our chemistry class. You can add an icon or uncover. Now, how do you change this to make sure that it's relevant to what you need? You can use emojis to make sure that you add the icon to what you need, or you can upload an image or link an image. How you would link it is through an application you can use. I'm sure you've heard of it, Pinterest. With Pinterest, you can upload many different GIFs or images to ensure that it's personalized to what you need. So let's go back to our physics classroom where we have different notes for different weeks of the day. How you would use this is once you've toggled a list, which I will show you right now, create a toggle list for week 5. Once you do that, you can either add to-do lists under here, or you can add different pages. And under that page, you can title your lecture. And again, add an icon and add an cover. So it creates a web and you can organize it however neatly you want it to be organized. Now let's create a teacher's template. Using your classroom section, you can also manage all your students and how they're doing. So let's go back to our teacher template, students, create a section. Now, under this page, you can add grades, page for grades. You can also add a page for semesters. So cover. Another unique thing about Notion is you can add infinite different pages and infinite different covers and pages within pages. And that's one of the most important things about using Notion. Now, let's go back to one of the pre-made template section and see what we can do with Notion. For teachers, here we have a classroom home. So let's use this template. In this classroom, you can section your work with whatever title you want. So let's say we do chemistry. You can have your instructor section for whatever professor you have, contact their office hours, and also have your syllabus, course syllabus, and required text. So another great thing about Notion is you can share your workspace with all your students. How you do that is you just click on share, share to web, and then just copy paste this link that they give you to your students to make sure that your students have access to all your different notes and applications. Let's start another one. So now when you want to create lesson plans, here's what teachers would use. With this lesson plan, you're able to see it in table format, but you can also add different types of views. If you add a gallery and create the gallery, you can see all your lesson plans in different galleries. What's so powerful about Notion is you can add as many views as possible, and you can curate it to make sure what makes sense to all of you. So let's say you wanted to start a lesson over here. When you're working on it, you can move it in progress. And when you've completed it, you can ensure it's going in the completed section. And when you want your students to view it, you can make them view it in the gallery. So that's how you create lesson plans in Notion. Let's start off with another place. Course schedule. And this is what you would use if you wanted to make a course schedule for your students, or students can use this in order to organize all their different classes for their school. So let's say we had a lab report due on August, let's say September 4th. And what type is it? Is it a lesson, exam, or assignment? Let's say it's a lab report. So we can create different tags. And that way, if you just wanted one single tag, that's what you can make sure comes up. What topic would it be about? So this lab report is about Now, guess what we can do over here as well? Each of these different tags are separate different pages. This way, you don't have to worry about where each page goes, and also make sure that all your students are not confused about where it's going. Once you have everything organized, what you can do is create a home page or a hub. Add an icon, and then you can move everything onto your hub. By doing this, you ensure that nothing is all over the place and students aren't confused with where to go in terms of where to find your classroom notes. What's a great thing about Notion is it works online and offline. So in case your Wi-Fi goes out, it ensures that your students still have access to all the different notes and applications that you use. And the same thing goes for students. This is what I use to track all my different classes. And once I track them, I can ensure that I have access to this both online and offline, because Notion is an application that works on your phone, iPad, or computer, and it's a separate application to the actual Google Chrome. So let's move all of this to the different hubs and ensure everything is in one place. Now, how do you add images and different GIFs to your workspace? So we're going to show that right now by stopping our screen share and then sharing our screen again. So here is going back. Let's say we wanted to put this image onto our Notion application. What you would do is just copy the image address of any application, of any Google Doc, of any image online, and you wanted to put that onto Notion. So let's go back to this and let's add a cover, and you add it with a link and you paste the image link over here. That's where it would come up. If you just want to create an embed, you can embed an image over here, and that's where it would show up. And if you wanted to add it as your cover, you can change the cover and you can add it up here. And that's where it would show up. We can also reposition the cover to ensure that it's related to what you want to use. So let's go back to here and look up Science Classroom. Let's screen share this. Right. Let's take this image over here. And let's add that onto our hub. Add a cover, change the cover, and link. They also provide you with many different applications over here with using Unsplash, but you can also create your own. And then by going back, let's now see how we can embed Google Documents. So let's open up a Google Doc. Starting a new Google Doc over here, let's label this lab report since that's what we've been going with for the entire webinar. So here it is. Now, once you share it, copy link, you can add it to your Notion by simply screen share. Pasting the link down here and embedding, oh, no. Let's go back to our teacher's template and we can embed our Google Docs by just simply pasting it over here and embed it as a Notion file. And we have our lab report up here. You can do the same thing with Google Slides, Google Sites, and even documents like we just showed. Now, let's go back and finish our template. How you can move these blocks around to ensure that's organized the way you want it to be is you can resize these images or documents if you wish to, and move them side by side to each other. And you can do the same by converting them under each other. So drag and drop is one of their main ways of organizing this entire workspace. And you can drag and drop them anywhere you would like. Another way to change it is to changing the fonts up here, add them to small text or make it full width to ensure that you can see better or organize them better or have more space to have it organized. Let's go move forward with our student life template. Moving forward with our class notes, we can add different sections for different classes. And let's create a template for students to use. Class notes. Now, how do we use this template? We've already seen this template before. How to add things here is you just click on the plus sign to ensure that all your things are adjusted by date. You can also make sure that this is filtered properly, and you can filter them through ascending order or descending order. Each of these has the open toggle over here, so you can open each page and have your notes written in the way you want it to write. So open as an entire page, and there we have it. The student life template and the teacher hub will all be organized and ready for you to use once you have it downloaded and once you have Notion downloaded. Now, let's go back to the actual presentation over here. So let's say we wanted to add an icon now. Why is this important? To add icons is to make sure that you organize everything the right way. So let's choose this over here. Again, same process, you copy the image address. Once you share it to the hub, here we go, change it, and there you have it. Now this will be available for you to use or for you to explore again once we record the video and upload it, record the webinar and upload it onto YouTube. Everything will be linked down below. Now let's go back to our presentation. Does anyone have any questions about any of these applications that are listed over here? Okay, let's go back to here.fm. So someone asked how we would use here.fm to manage their classroom. How you would do this is you would create a room with all different templates you see here. So over here, you see the work of professional highlighted. Using this, you can create a template for Zoom or Google Meets, and you can add your students onto this template by sending them an invite link to your room. Now, once you click out of this, unlike Zoom or Google Classroom, where you have to go back and everything's going to be the same again, it's just a video platform. This keeps everything you worked on there. So let's say you create a diagram using the whiteboard feature that they have. You can choose to keep it on there. And the next time a student hops onto your classroom, they're going to be able to see what you posted, all the different reminders, anything that's on there. So it essentially works exactly like a room. This is a great application to check out. And if you want to simulate and make your learning environment more fun, and if you're still in the pandemic and going back in person is no longer an option for your school, make sure you check out here.fm because it simulates an actual classroom. You can decorate it however you would like to decorate it. So let's say you're a mathematics class and you focus on creating class notes. That's another thing about here.fm. You can add Google Documents onto here. And when you're talking to your class can see what you're doing on this Google Doc and also look at what you draw. What's a great thing about this application is if you want your students to type directly or draw directly, they will be able to do that. Another thing about here.fm is you can let them handle their controls. So let's say that you wanted student A to draw something and for everyone to see. Using this application, instead of just talking about it, students can actually show what they're doing. This application also allows you to add text onto your classroom, and it simply stays there. So let's just imagine a normal classroom, how it works. If you add a poster onto your classroom wall, it stays there. That's exactly how this would work. Another great thing about this is you can import images. So how do you import images? The exact same way you import images on Notion. You simply either you download it or you select the application, or you copy the web application or the website where the image is, and you paste it onto here.fm. Another good thing about this is it also has a chat feature similar to on Zoom, except it also shows activity of each student. So if a student hops onto a different tab, you'll be able to see it through here.fm. A student can also protect their privacy by disabling this feature, but if you would like it to be enabled, you can use that through your room. So if you create the room, you're going to be responsible for every single person that comes onto here. So this also works as a link. So if someone has a link between two different applications, then you have to ensure that you don't let anyone else but the people who are invited onto your application. So I have another question. What are the main differences between Notion and here.fm? Notion is mostly used for notes. So using Notion, you can use it to organize your notes, and you can use it to submit the notes to your students or teachers, or even students can use this to create different lab reports or basically document their notes. However, here.fm is a platform where we can talk to each other. Notion does not enable you to do that. Think of here.fm as your virtual classroom, except it literally is a classroom. Zoom and Google Meets are great platforms to be able to talk to each other, but they don't allow students to interact with each other. Through Here.fm, you can see students interacting with each other, moving around like they would in a normal classroom, or you can have them stay seated by putting up an image of an actual classroom and have students sitting in each different areas. Here.fm gives you full creativity on how to organize your classroom in the way when you're actually talking to them. So let's say you're giving a lecture and you're drawing something on the screen. On Zoom, it would appear like how I'm doing it right now. You would be able to see my application over here. You would be able to see me moving around my hand, but you would not be able to let your students do the same for them. If you wanted to do that, you would share the document with them, right? Now with Here.fm, you don't have to do that. You simply create a new whiteboard or an application, and then you add it onto the actual classroom. And so your students can ensure that they can see what you're doing, but they can also participate if you would like them to. Can you record on here like you can on Zoom? So currently Here.fm is still on beta mode. So I see that a lot of educators are interested in how Here.fm works. So Here.fm is a classroom and it lets you simulate a room. However, since they're still in beta mode, they're fixing all the different problems that show up. And also you can let them add things. So you can join their Discord if you want to suggest them to do things. But as of now, Here.fm cannot record things. However, they can take images or pictures of the actual classroom. So if you wanted to take attendance, you would simply have to take a picture of the actual thing instead of taking your phone out and attending or calling out attendance every time you're on Zoom or Google Meets. So Here.fm is a great application to use instead of using Zoom or Google Meets if you want to make sure that your students are more engaged in their learning. Another question I have is, can I use Here.fm in after school hours and in your links? Okay, that's a really great question. Once you create a classroom, I think we already went over this, but once you create a classroom, you can go back to that classroom however many times you want. Think of it like a website. Once you click out of the website is still going to stay there. And as long as you have the link of the website, you can keep going back to that website. That's similar to how Here.fm works. Once you have the web app, once you create your classroom, and once you have your site name, you can keep going back to that site no matter how many times, unless you're banned from that site. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But you make sure that you have the invites open so your students can join, and they can join whenever you want. So let's say that your lesson is over and you are trying to host a questions section or after school hour help or helping students after school. They can hop onto this classroom. They can see the notes that are going to be discussed during the period. You can also add a whiteboard of things that's actually going to happen in the lecture that you provide. And any links, documents, resources you put on there will stay on there unless you delete them. Another great thing about Here.fm is if you don't want your students or anyone else to edit the classroom, if you want to be responsible for what you do in this classroom, you can enable that feature. So no one else can edit the classroom but you. So that way students aren't messing around, or students aren't moving things places or deleting things unless you want them to. So that's another thing about Here.fm. You can use it to replace both Zoom or Google Meets, and it's also both safe, efficient, and also you can download this on Google Chrome if you wanted to. Since it's in beta mode, you might want to join the Discord server if you face any, if you have any troubles using the application, and you just report the troubles to the Discord server so they can ensure that they get it fixed immediately. Another great thing about this application is that they're almost available 24/7 to help you out, and you can add them onto your classroom if you need help with this application. Are there any more questions about any other applications discussed in this video? The list is right over here. Are all these applications? Yes. So all the applications discussed in this webinar are completely free. in some of the applications, you can pay for a premium version, but all the features that we described in this webinar are free, and you're going to be able to download them and use them for yourself or your students as well. Are there any more questions about any other applications? No. Okay, so I have a question that asks if here.fm is an application. Yes, it is. However, you can only download it on Google Chrome. And once you use here.fm, you can download it on Google Chrome, but you cannot download it on your phone because they're currently developing that right now. If you wanted, you could use them as a user testing application to see if it works, but you may have kinks. So the most recommended way of using here.fm is like using Google Meets, how you would use Google Meets onto your browser. But if you wanted, you can download it through Google Chrome as well. How do I get the most from Spikeview as a student? So how we use Spikeview is like an online portfolio. It's very, very similar to using LinkedIn. However, LinkedIn is more for the professionals, and the posts that they post aren't really relevant to students. Now, Spikeview is the place where you can go look for internship opportunities. You can look for any thing that interests you. So let's say that you really want to find a hackathon because you really like coding. So you would go onto Spikeview and you would look up under these categories, and they have everything curated for you. So, and anytime you want to post your interest or your portfolio or any projects that you've been working on, Spikeview is the place to go. Another great thing about Spikeview is that colleges are now starting to use Spikeview as a way to look at their student applications. So you can also link your Spikeview application onto your college applications to tell the people who are looking at your applications more about you. And using Spikeview is a great way to track everything you've been doing all these past few years in high school. They're mostly recommended for high schoolers because when you're moving on to college, you want to have a way of tracking your portfolio because you're not going to be able to do that with any other applications. And when you're applying for college, it's hard to remember everything you've done. With Spikeview, not only can you remember, but you can also organize everything in a way that shows yourself and other people how you center yourself and what your interests are and what you've been doing in your high school career and what you would like to do in the future. Does anyone have any other questions about any other applications? Can I share anything I do on Notion with my students? Yes, anything you do on Notion, you can enable it to share it to make sure that everyone on the web can see it. And how your students will be able to see it is you just take the link and you give it to your students to make sure that they have all the notes that you discussed and any other detailed study guides that you have. And so just make sure you have the share to web on to make sure that your students can access it, or they will not be able to access it if you don't have it on. Does anyone have any more questions? No. So not all applications on here are available to download as on their phone. Some of these applications are only websites that you can use for creating things. So things like SlidesGo or Slides Carnival are only websites where you can download these templates for, and then also Biorender is only a website, not an application. But most of the other things discussed here are website/applications, unless you're talking about here.fm. So here.fm, like I said earlier, is only like a web browser, is only used in a web browser, similar to how you would use Google Meets. Can I use here.fm as a student? Yes, here.fm is available to anyone for use. So as long as you sign up like any other website, and you can use here.fm to create study groups. You can use it to create clubs. So let's say you're running your computer science club at school. So you can create a room at here.fm and ensure that anyone will be able to take this and then come onto your site, similar to how I explained for the classroom. You just make it a live site. If you don't want students to change what you're doing, then you just enable that, and then they can continue to come on here as long as they have the site and look around, take a look at all the notes, notifications, anything that's posted up there. And there's also a chat feature where it's also available all the time. So if you want to go back to a lecture or you want to go back to a discussion that happened, you can just scroll down and then see everything that happened on that site. Does anyone have any more questions about the applications over here? Oh, can I use Notion to? Yes, so as I shared my screen earlier to show all the Notion templates that were available, yes, you can use Notion to track anything. It does not just have to be about education. For this webinar purposes, I made sure that I focused on the education aspect of how to organize class notes, how to organize classrooms, and how to make sure that your students are like completely organized and you have all your notes in one place and all your semesters in one place. But you can use Notion for almost anything. So let's say you were planning a trip to travel, you can use Notion to create tables and make sure you track your budget. You can use Notion as an Excel sheet. So think of Notion as a merging of Google Docs, Google Slides, and almost any other website that's out there that focuses on productivity. So anything that makes you do to-do lists, that's everything in Notion. Can you use? No, so Notion is not like here.fm. There are two completely different ways of working. Here.fm is more for helping you work with students. However, Notion is a place where you can organize your workspace. You can organize your notes over here. Here.fm is similar to that. However, you don't want to organize all your notes and put them on your classroom. When you have your lessons in the classroom, you don't keep all your lessons over there. You let students take notes for it. So that's what here.fm is like. Think of here.fm as any other online platform where you can talk to people. So most educators use Zoom or Google Meets to hold their classroom lectures. Here.fm is a application like that. It's exactly like Zoom or Google Meets. However, you can personalize it to your classroom. You can decorate it as your classroom, and you can ensure that there's more engagement within people. So no, to answer your question, Notion and here.fm are not the same. Using Notion, you use Notion to organize your notes and workspace, and you use here.fm to talk to your students and engage them in a way that makes sense for your classroom. If you're a classroom that, if you like focusing your lectures and your students more on your experiments, here.fm is the place to go. Since it's currently in beta mode right now, you might experience some kinks. Like I said, you can always call them onto your classroom and then figure out what's wrong. But using here.fm in your classrooms in the upcoming school year would be of great help for your students and also you to make sure that everyone's more engaged. And yeah, that's the difference between Notion and here.fm. Okay, I see a lot of you are interested in here.fm. So like I mentioned earlier, here.fm is not available on all different applications. It is available on download for Google Chrome. However, it works on Google Chrome as well. So even if you download it as an application, it will open up in Google Chrome. So think of here.fm as an application, a website. However, it's not fully created. And if you wanted a feature, so let's say that you wanted to embed an application onto here.fm, you can let them know on their Discord channel. You can look them up, find their Discord channel and join it, and then let them know what you want, and they will make it for you. And so they have a really great community where you can join and make sure that you communicate with people, you learn more features about it, and you just join on to them. Yeah, so I can tell by the question that you are a student. And yes, you can use here.fm to talk to your friends. However, I didn't highlight that for the purposes of this webinar, but you can use here.fm to talk to anyone like you would on different applications. It works just like FaceTime, Zoom, Google Meets. So yeah, you could use here.fm to talk to your friends if you wanted to. And you can decorate it in similar ways if you really wanted to. Can I use here.fm for my elementary school? That is an excellent question. So the question is, can I use here.fm with my elementary students and will it be easy for them to? Yes. So here.fm is actually perfect to use with your students because they're like when you're teaching these students, and since they're so young, they're going to be almost bored of like staring at a screen on Zoom. Here.fm gives them a chance to engage with their classroom. Since everyone's online right now, even if you're in person and holding online lectures as a hybrid class, you can go on to here.fm and ensure that your students can like move around things, they can engage in things, they can add stickers onto it. That's another great feature of here.fm. You can add stickers and gifts that they have curated for their own website, and you can just add them onto here. So yes, here.fm is a great choice for your elementary students because they will definitely enjoy this over Zoom or Google Meets. Are there any more questions? Can you collaborate on Notion? Yes, you could collaborate on Notion if you wanted to. However, on the free plan, there is a limit. But if you do choose to take the pro plan, then yes, you can share your notes with people for collaboration and it would work exactly like Google Docs. But let's say you don't want them to have access to your other documents, you can ensure that they only have access to that particular page or that particular document, and they can only edit that. So you can make sure that all your other files stay safe and hidden and remaining. It's exactly like Google Docs, except it gives you a lot more freedom to move things around and add things onto their different pages. So yes, you can use Notion to collaborate with your students. However, you would need the pro plan for that if you have like a large classroom. No. So you can't collaborate on it. So students will not be able to change what you write. But let's say you have like all your lesson plans, what you are going to teach on Notion. You can share the link and they're going to, as you can have the entire website, like you can have everyone in the world view what you've written on Notion if they have the site. So once you share it with everyone, anyone who has the link will be able to see what you've done. However, you won't be able to collaborate on it. So they won't be able to change it. If you want people to change it, then you actually have a limit of 5 to 10 people, but more than that, you would have to pay for the pro version for the personal plan of Notion. So collaborate with everyone. No, there is a limit, but if you want to share it with everyone, then yes, you can do that. What do you mean by a large classroom? How many students would be large? So if you wanted, so is this for Notion or is this for here.fm? Both. Okay. So on here.fm, you can have as many students as you want. I remember using here.fm with around 40 people. So I don't think you should not have a problem with calling people onto here.fm. But remember, here.fm is used only for talking to different like people. Using Notion, let's say you write a lesson for one day. So you write all your lesson notes for a day, or actually no, not just one day. You have all your lesson notes for the whole year and your students are preparing for their exams. Now you can share everything with them. So you can share on the web and you can share it with your entire class. and they'll all be able to access it. But let's say you create a document about like a discussion that you want to have. You can share it with people and you can share the document, but not a lot of people will be able to actually change and collaborate with you. What I mean by change and collaborate feature is on Google Docs, you know how you can add people and they can collaborate and write with you. That is what I'm talking about in terms of collaboration. So as many people as you want can view the document, but there is a limit on how many people can actually change what's in that document. So how many people can edit the document. So what I meant by having a large classroom is only if you wanted to have a space for collaboration. If you wanted to have a space for collaboration, I would recommend using here.fm and not Notion in terms of like collaborating for notes. But if you're just sharing the notes with your students, use Notion, because that way you're going to be able to have a lot more like details and then share it with your students to make sure that they see it. Yeah. Are there any more questions for me? Okay, so we don't have any questions right now. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Oh, which is more user-friendly, SlidesGo or... Okay, so SlidesGo and Slides Carnival work exactly the same way. They're almost similar sites. They just have different templates on each other. So if you don't find something that you like on SlidesGo, then just move on to Slides Carnival and back and forth and vice versa. So they're exactly the same thing. They're both user-friendly. Both of them let you download almost any template you like. There are templates on both of them for premium users. If you wanted to pay for a certain like template, then you can. However, most templates on here are free, and all you have to do is sign up to access these features. And so are there any more questions in terms of any of these applications? Can multiple people edit them at the same time? Are you talking about the templates on SlidesGo and Slides Carnival? Yes, okay, so yeah, so once you actually download that template, so in these SlidesGo and Slides Carnival, once you like a template, you just move it onto Google Slides, and then you would just use it normally, like how you use Google Slides. So yeah, you can add people onto the document, and then you can just share it with them and ensure that students will be able to use it. So that's how you would use SlidesGo and Slides Carnival. It's just a place where you can find a lot of templates, or like hundreds of thousands of templates. And if you like a template, you just move it to your like Google Slides, or you can also download it for your Microsoft PowerPoint, and then you just share it with how many other people you want to edit them. So yeah, multiple people can use to edit them at the same time. And are there any more questions? All right, so since we don't have any more questions, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you do have further questions about today's webinar, please either contact me or the National STEM Honor Society. You can go on our website and fill out the contact us form. And all the templates that I've shown below and all the different applications will be listed onto like our webinar. And once we upload our webinar, you will have access to the slides and also the different applications and different webinars. So yeah, thank you for joining us today, and I will see you soon.